is Adam Fox. Catch every Rangers game right here on 880 ESPN.
WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Monday, January 5th, 2026. You and me for two. Those are the rules of engagement. The fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio. I'll say it for the last time because I don't want to anger Larry David. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you had a great and wonderful holiday season and that you're all happy and healthy. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about. It's Black Monday in the NFL, and let's get right to it. The biggest news happened during Bart Carlin's show when the Giants pretty much said what everybody thought was a fait accompli, that the GM, Joe Schoen, is in fact going to come back and lead the search for the next head coach. And they say they believe in him. They believe in continuity. And I heard what Chris was saying on the show where he said, well, what happens if they find a coach that doesn't want Joe Schoen as the GM? Well, my answer to Chris would be Joe Schoen is conducting the search. You think he's going to present a coach to them that doesn't want him as the GM? He's as good as gold. Now, I'm not quite sure. I as you know, over the years, I never, ever call for anybody's job. It's just not my way. But you really do have to wonder what the Giants are thinking when it comes to Schoen. I keep hearing, well, there's some talent on the team. There's not that much talent on the team. Yeah, they got the quarterback, and that's important. And it was Brian Daboll who kind of prodded him into making that selection and moving back to the late part of the first round to get him. Malik Neighbors is obviously a great player. I mean, we can't anoint Cam Scadaboo anything. Tracy, second straight 1,000-yard season, both passing and receiving. And, the front line's okay. The linebackers aren't that great. The secondary is awful. Evan Neal is on his resume. So here's what happens. Brian Daboll ended up being the scapegoat because Joe Schoen sits next to the owners during the game, and he could shape it and bend it whichever way he wants. So he put all the blame on Brian Daboll. I mean, Kafka obviously didn't have much of a chance to get the job. He was just an interim guy and ended up winning the last two games, which we'll get into in a moment. Doesn't really bode well for the Giants as they drop from what would have been the number one pick in the draft, where they would have been the kings of the world, as everybody who wanted a quarterback and wants Mendoza or maybe more would have been knocking down their door, giving them multiple first-round draft picks to get to that number one spot. Now they'll get no calls for number 5. None. Also, when you talk about talent, he procures pretty good talent. I wrote this down. Last offseason, he spent $175 million in free agent contracts. Russell Wilson, Darius Slayton, James Hudson, Goldston, Paulson, Adebo, and Hahn. Where's the winner in any of that? $175 million, and that is an offer in free agency. Offer. Abdul Carter, I think, is going to be a good player. He finally woke up at the end of the year, but he wasn't great. Thibodeau hasn't been great. Another high draft pick. Evan Neal is one of the biggest busts in the history of the Giant organization. So I keep saying, well, he's done a good job. Really? He's done a good job? His record as the GM is 22-45-1. 22-45-1. Now, with the 2 wins they had at the end of the year against the Raiders and yesterday against the Cowboys, I've never, ever, ever been a proponent of tanking. Okay? But there are some times that discretion is the better part of valor. And here's what I mean. You don't think the Giants would be better off with the number 1 pick rather than the number 5 pick? And don't tell me, because Don and I used to argue about this all the time. These wins, they set the culture. Nonsense. They won the last game last year, and they stunk this year. It's going to be all different. It's going to be different players and a different coach. Yesterday's game means nothing for the culture other than the fact that you set back your rebuild because of the fact you don't have the number one pick where you could actually flaunt a quarterback to any team that desperately needs one. You have the number 5 pick, which really doesn't have much trade value for anybody. So if you're not a big tank guy, right? There are a lot of teams yesterday that tanked. Teams going to the playoffs lost their games on purpose. And they just were trying to keep their guys rested and maybe get a playoff spot that they felt was a better matchup for them. But the Giants win a useless game against the Raiders, and then the Raiders win yesterday. And the Giants would have the number 1 pick if they lost to the Cowboys. Instead, they win 34-17. How's it a good thing? Because if Joe Schoen is indeed going to run the show, the word should have been sent down. You guys have to lose this game. You got to rest Dart. You got to rest Tracy. I want everybody rested because we have to lose this game. And if Kafka doesn't like it, then fire him. Every other team lost on purpose that had to lose on purpose. You think the Jets were trying the last 5 games? Were they trying, or are they just awful? We'll get into that a little bit later on. They stink. But they got their butts kicked for 5 straight games. They weren't even competitive yesterday against Mitch Trubisky and the Bills. But the Giants decide to flaunt and flex against the Raiders and the Cowboys. For what? For what reason? Well, they broke a 9-game losing streak against the Cowboys. So what? I'd much rather have the number 1 pick. And again, this is from a guy who's not a proponent of tanking, but sometimes you got to do what's right for the organization. They should not have won those games. I love when John Mara said, if I found out they were tanking, everybody would have been fired. Well, you know what? I love John Mara. I wish him only the best in his battle against cancer that he's going through right now. But that's not the right thing to say. For the betterment of the Giants organization, they needed to lose these last 2 games. Think about the setback that they have, going from 1st to 5th. And they allowed the Jets to move up to 2. Where if Dante Moore comes out, the Jets are assured of getting themselves a quarterback. So what good did the victories over the Raiders and the Cowboys give you? What? You're going to hang your hat? Season ticket sales are going to be better because the Giants won 2 meaningless games. I saw this stat. I'm not exactly sure if it's 1,000% right. But of the Giants' last 8 wins, right? 4 of them have come in week 17 and 18 of the season. Meaningless. And each time costing them draft position. Each time. And I know the arguments, well, you could get a great player at 5. Yeah, I know. We're talking about the likelihood. What's the likelihood of you getting a better player at 1 than 5? And what's the likelihood of you trading that number 1 pick because you're convinced you have your quarterback? What's the likelihood of you trading that for a treasure trove of picks? 5th pick, they're not going to be dealing that for a treasure trove of anything. Will they fill a hole? Yeah, they'll fill a hole. Remember, though, this is the same GM who selected Evan Neal. The same GM who brought in Brian Dable and then probably undermined him later. And we mentioned the health issues for John Mara. Don't discount the fact that's probably why Joe Schoen, one of the reasons Joe Schoen's going to keep his job. Maybe the organization just doesn't have the stomach to go for a GM search in addition to a coaching search. And the coaches, they're becoming available. Pete Carroll fired today. Kevin Stefanski, the Browns, fired today. Raheem Morris fired yesterday. Jonathan Gannon fired today. That's on top of Brian Callahan of the Titans and Brian Dable of the Giants being fired during the season. So 6 teams have openings. The Bengals have said that Zach Taylor is, in fact, coming back. And Ian O'Connor, who for years now has been locked in to Giants goings-on, said that Stefanski right now is probably the favorite to get the job. Innovative offensive mind, 2 11-win seasons with the Browns, 2 Coach of the Year awards with the Browns. Has not been good the last couple of years, but has not been handed the greatest hand. the dysfunction of the Browns with Deshaun Watson and all of that. And then Shedeur Sanders, whether he wanted him or not, and then ignored him at some point, well, whatever the case may be, it wasn't a great situation. But remember, Stefanski, young, he's going to be 44 in a couple of months. Won 11 games twice and a playoff game with the Cleveland Browns. So there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for that. Mike McCarthy is out there. We don't know if John Harbaugh is going to lose his job after what was a scintillating final regular season game of the year last night. If you didn't get a chance to watch that game or you couldn't stay up late because you had work today, I am so sorry. It was one of the best games I've seen in such a long time. And I want to give props and kudos to Mike Tirico, who did play-by-play. That was a masterclass in the way he broadcasted that game. An absolute masterclass. Now, any broadcaster is going to look good when it's a great game, but you got to put a frame around a great picture, and he heightened everything that was important leading you up to the missed field goal and how important that missed extra point was, and with energy and emotion, he's never been better, and he's always been top flight. Masterclass. Also, Aaron Rodgers played like a beast. Like a beast, how good he was. But we are talking about the Giants keeping their GM. I don't know. Another bad year. Last year was 3-14. The coach that he hired was fired by ownership. So now you're going to put it in his lap to find another coach. And are you going to give him an extension? Because why allow him to bring in the coach that's going to be signed for 3, 4, 5 years, and then he might get banged next year if they don't have another good year, or if they have another bad year? And if you're going to listen to what John Mara said at the end of last year, there better be some improvement, or these people won't be around. Well, Dable's not around. They won one more game, 2 useless games. In my mind, they won 2 games. Now, they came close in a lot of other games. They could have won the Denver game. They could have. They could have won the Cowboy game. The first one. A lot of wins were out there. Was it coaching? Well, that's probably what he was selling to ownership. Hey, I got the play. The players are not that great. Everybody keeps saying, they got such a good nucleus of players. Listen, if any coach wants this job, and I think that all coaches want this job, it'll be because of Jackson Dart. Not because they have their cupboard just overflowing with talent. Tell me where. Tell me where. I'd like to know. And also with the quarterback, I believe in him too, but he's one hit away from being Tua Tagovailoa. That's a dangerous proposition. Dangerous. So Joe Schoen is coming back. And I'm not worried at all, as I said, about what if they try to hire a coach that wants his own GM. Not going to happen because Shane's the one ferreting them out. This guy's a survivor. He is. He survived the fact that he had one of the worst looks on Hard Knocks. The decision to let go of Saquon Barkley, the decision to let go of McKinney, all of those things. He handed the Eagles another Super Bowl. He looked awful on Hard Knocks, and still he is the last man standing to try it again. God bless him. Hope it works out. Hope it works out. As for the Jets, non-competitive. They're embarrassing. Do you know how many passing yards they had this year? 759 passing yards. Aaron Rodgers is 108 years old and had almost 300 yards himself last night against the Ravens. They're the first team in NFL history to lose by 23 or more points in 5 straight games. 5 straight games. In the last 5 games, they've been outscored 188-54. And then Glenn said, well, this is on me. I let the organization down, let the players down. That burns me. He's been terrible. The only good part about the Jets was their special teams. He fired his defensive coordinator. He's supposed to be the defensive genius. And the one thing that bothers me about Aaron Glenn is he keeps bringing this up. I've been in other places where, we turned it around. You were a coordinator or just a coach? You had nothing to do with the Lions turning it around. Goff and Ben Johnson did. Yeah, they were good defense. They were a good defense. But you act like you were the head coach. You were not the head coach, Aaron. You can't say, I know how to do this. I've done it in other places. Never as a head coach. Aaron Glenn seems overmatched. He went from being nasty to the media, short with the media. Somebody probably told him, you better change your ways. Then he was very, very soft-spoken and apologetic with the media in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Now, I know their defense, no Sauce Gardner, no Williams. I understand that. Get it. He had no quarterback. That's on him, and that's on Muji. Brady Cook is not an NFL starting quarterback. I think he had 11 yards in the first half yesterday against the Bills. 11 yards. Awful team. And their defense was laughable. If you watch that game, they didn't want to tackle anybody. And this one thing I caught, I don't know if any, I forget who did the interview. I think it was Ryan Spiegel. Interviewed Jay Glazer of Fox. He's their NFL insider. And Glazer told a story that that they were letting go of Aaron Rodgers. And he needed 3 separate sources to confirm it before he went on the air with it. He knew what happened in the meeting. He called up Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn told him, that's not true. You should not go with it. That's not true. So he lied to the one of the head NFL insiders. For what reason? He's done everything wrong this year. Everything. You got to find another way to do that rather than lie. That's not true. It is true. It was true. And Glazer went with it and broke the story. But he said, I will never forget that guy lied to me. Reporters never forget if you lied to them. I mean, you could have cut a deal with them. Listen, can you keep it under wraps for a day or so? I'll take care of you somewhere down the line. Instead, you just out and out lie. Gene Michael, the late, great front office genius of the Yankees, he just had a thing where he would never lie to a media member who came to him with a trade that he heard about. And if it was true, he wouldn't say yes or no. He'd go, where did you hear that? He would never lie because it will always come back and haunt you. You tell me the good things that Aaron Glenn did this year. Tell me the good things. The team was an embarrassment. Their offense was an embarrassment. So he fires the defensive coordinator. Engelhardt certainly has done nothing. Their offense is just, it's flaccid. There's nothing to it. And all words point to that he's coming back. And I think he's coming back for one reason. They signed him to a 5-year deal at $10 million a year. And Woody doesn't want to eat all that money. And there's also the money of all the assistant coaches that he brought. So Aaron Glenn's coming back because of circumstance, not because he earned it, not because he showed anything. We keep hearing about change culture. They stink. They were worse than they were last year. And after they fired Robert Saleh at 2-3, they didn't have a real head coach, and they won more games than this team. When's the culture changing, Aaron? Let's go to the phones. 1-800-919-3776. We'll go to Anthony in Dobbs Ferry. Anthony, start it off.
Mike, it's unbelievable to me that at 1:19 p.m. on the day after the NFL season ends, Aaron Glenn still has his job. As a huge Jets fan, I can't tell you how disappointed I am in this season. This was not supposed to be a rebuild. It was billed to us as this was going to be a team that was going to compete. We brought in a defensive head coach in an offensive league. You look at the playoffs, Mike, 14 teams are in the playoffs. 9 of them have offensive head coaches. We have a defensive head coach, which, okay, if you want to sell me on that, fine. But we have a defensive head coach that's inept at defense. We regressed defensively this year. Our top defensive players played subpar. They didn't get better. They got worse under this guy.
No
okay?
interceptions.
So how could
First
you
time
tell
in history.
me – correct. How could you tell me that with the number 2 pick, where we're going to take a quarterback, I'd assume, and at the number, I think we have 16, we feel comfortable having him take a rookie quarterback, and lead us to something promising? I don't feel comfortable with that, Mike. This guy has to be fired.
I can't sit here, Anthony, and say that you're wrong. I mean, all signs point that he was not good. He was not good. You can't regress that much. And I guess Woody doesn't want to have egg on his face, but teams do fire guys after 1 year. Pete Carroll, who has a Super Bowl on his resume, he got fired today by the Raiders. He got fired. It's happened before. I don't think it's fair. And I'm not going to say that Aaron Glenn should be fired. But what did he earn? What did he do to earn another year? Other than the fact that he has a 5-year contract for $50 million, and I don't think Woody wants to eat that. What did he show you? Did you see his face on the sideline yesterday? Look, he was going to cry. He came in all full of bluster. Not going to kick the Jets around anymore. They kicked them around worse than they've ever been kicked around. Go to Joe in West Harrison. Joe.
Hey, Mike. Happy New Year to you, brother, and your family. How's everything?
Same to you.
Hope everything's
Everything's good.
So I'm agreeing with the Dobbs Frey. I guess it's a Westchester morning call show today, but I wanted a former Jet just to have somebody who was a Jet and took pride in it and maybe felt what the fans felt. But this guy doesn't have an answer for anything. I want a seasoned head coach that when things go sideways, you could turn to him. He's going to have the answers. I have a question. Was the GM hired prior? Did he have anything to do with the hiring of Glenn? Because he's the GM, and he doesn't want him. He should be
Glenn
gone.
hired the GM.
Right. So go figure, and then forget it. The loyalty, that ain't gonna happen. But I didn't see anything positive direction this year at all with this guy. And you have a running back coach. You're gonna develop a new quarterback with a running back coach that's there now. That's crazy. I mean, it is completely crazy. Unless you're going to hire a new offensive coordinator or a new quarterback coach, I don't see them getting better next year at all, even with all the new picks. I don't. At the end of the day, I think Glenn should have been ousted completely.
Well,
I know it's 5 years,
Joe,
$50 million, but
this is a sobering thing if it's true. So Todd McShay used to work at ESPN. Now he works for The Ringer. And he released a podcast today where he said that Dante Moore, the kid who might stay in college or might declare, he can declare if he wants to, is having his people call up the Raiders and say, would you guys be willing to take him? And if the Raiders go, no, we're gonna go with Mendoza, Dante Moore says he's going to stay in school because this is according to Todd McShay, and I don't quite buy it, and I like Todd, that nobody wants to play for the Jets. No one. Nobody wants to go to that toxic situation. Now, if no one, an NFL job in New York, no one wants to, that's a little bit dubious to me, but maybe Moore doesn't. If you're a quarterback, would you want to go to the Jets? Have they, in fact, given you any kind of optimism in their ability to develop a quarterback? Sam Darnold went to Seattle, and he just won them the number 1 seed. I mean, think about it. It's unbelievable. But that's the Jets. Ira, Staten Island, what do you think?
Hey, Michael. I think I'll tell you the truth. First of all, besides pride and financial reasons, I really think that there's no slam dunk. Like if Tomlin or Harbaugh became available, or I would even go after Gruden, I think that's play a big part of this. Because Glenn, except for the uniforms yesterday, I'm sure Glenn had nothing to do with it. He's done nothing right except bring back Isaiah Williams after we originally cut him. I mean, this team, it got worse as the season went on. And if you want to say they tanked the last couple of weeks, I actually buy that. But everything from his press conference, talking about building a culture and building a foundation, the foundation was built on like in the ocean because there is no foundation. And I just don't see any future or any hope with him as a leader of this team. So to me, it's like going into next season, I don't care how many picks they have and who the quarterback is. I just don't see this guy turning around the franchise. I just don't. And I don't know who out there is the next guy. But Woody's going to have to find somebody because I don't see Glenn even lasting next year. I think by election day next year, Glenn is out.
Well, I'll put it this way, Ira. Robert Kraft fired his head coach, who was handpicked, Gerard Mayo, after 1 year because Mike Vrabel was available. And the Jets had interviewed Mike Vrabel. Now, would they have hired him? I don't know. But Robert Kraft did the smart thing, and look where the Patriots are now. What are they, 14-3? With a great quarterback that might win the MVP. Just think, after all the Super Bowls and all the greatness under Belichick, they have what? 3 bad years, and then they've turned it around that quickly, and the Jets are on 15 years of not making the playoffs. 15 years. It's really hard to justify being that bad for that long. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And they did get worse. Now, the defense was awful at the end, but again, no Sauce and no Williams. The one thing that I would hang my hat on, and I do believe that Glenn brought in Muji. Muji did make 2 outstanding deals. I mean, he robbed the Colts of those draft picks, and he got a good deal from the Cowboys as well. But maybe he's a good GM. But the coach, I don't think it's fair to judge him after 1 year. Bill Parcells had a terrible first year. Terrible first year. If you had judged him after 1 year, there would be no great Bill Parcells. There would be no Hall of Fame. I'm not comparing Glenn to Bill Parcells, but I do think it's eminently unfair to fire a guy after 1 year. But it's done. Patriots did it. Raiders just did it. It's done. Talk more Giants as well. We haven't even gotten to that with Shane. Well, we talked about it. We haven't let you talk about it. 1-800-919-3776. The beginning of the second year of this iteration of the Michael Kay Show. We thank you so much for being a part of it, and we'll come back with much, much more right here on ESPN New York.
Monday on Hahn and Rosenberg. After another disappointing football season in New York, how confident are you in Aaron Glenn as the Jets head coach and Joe Schoen is the Giants GM going forward?
This year's draft produced Cam Scatterboo, Abdul Carter, and Jackson Dart. So there is some evidence they have produced, at least in the draft. They want to move forward with this front office and Joe Schoen leading it.
Hahn and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Ox Spine at New York Presbyterian is always in pursuit of a better way to heal the spine. We're getting more people moving again with minimally invasive, non-surgical, and surgical treatments with innovative solutions for every back and spine condition and your unique needs. Expert spine care is available now across New York City and Westchester. Find a doctor at nyp.org/oxspine. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead.
Really?
That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's Second Chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York and New Jersey only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In New Jersey, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
Let's go to Dan in Jersey.
Spent the last week in Italy. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Italy before, but it is fantastic. I went to Florence, got a nice beefsteak alla Florentina. Best steak I've ever had in my life.
Nobody cares that you were in Italy. Got a steak at Florentina. Oh, no. Well, keep with the Giants.
I'll start talking to the Giants.
No. We got nothing but time, Dan. Tell us about the great steak Florentina when you were in Italy.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
Quite frankly, I don't like the way you're treating me.
I don't like you right now, quite frankly.
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Rich Eisen here. LinkedIn Jobs is stepping things up with their new AI assistant so you can feel confident you're finding top talent. Get this. Employees hired through LinkedIn are 30% more likely to stick around for at least a year compared to those hired through the leading competitor. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Eisen, then promote it to use LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant, making it easier and faster to find top candidates. That's linkedin.com/Eisen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football. It's a pepper thing.
Welcome back to the Michael K. Show on this Monday. They call it Black Monday in the NFL. By the way, I didn't give you the full stat, and you could definitely say that I misspoke. With the Jets, with the 759 passing yards this year, that's in the first half, which is by far the least amount of passing yards in the first half of any team. And it's historically bad, too. So I apologize. I didn't mean the whole game. 759 yards in the first half. They're always losing. Cook had 11 yards passing in the first half yesterday. 11. Anyway, it's time to bring in the Hall of Famer, Steve Young. I'm sure he's got an interesting take on all that happened over the weekend. Steve, Happy New Year. How you doing?
Michael, great. How are you, buddy?
Good. I'm wondering, somebody who played at the highest level, Hall of Fame, the whole thing, were you as enthralled as just us normal people watching that Steelers-Ravens game yesterday?
Yeah, there's a lot of history. Aaron being Aaron and all the story that line is, and then Lamar and his excellence, and yet not getting all the way. It's just a lot of drama. John Harbaugh's last game, there's just that, and then just their history of the two teams just batting at each other. But what was interesting to me is, despite all of it kind of going chalk most of the game, all of a sudden the NFL has created an environment where, by rule, it's more wide open. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but the changes have allowed for this NBA kind of finishes where, you got a closer like, Steph Curry or LeBron or whatever, and you got Lamar and Aaron, and they just go back and forth. And I think the league must love that because it's super exciting and these great players doing it. And then I couldn't quite figure out, Michael, like the missed extra point looked like the wind was whipping. Like that's what it looked like.
Right.
But then no one talked about it. And then the field goal that was missed, I thought I don't know, just something looked really weird about the whole thing. I thought
they were both wide right.
Wind that I don't understand or what's going on, but I felt so bad for the rookie kickers. That's just a terrible job. Brutal.
And the extra point was missed by a guy who had one extra point missed in 4 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, to me, I watched the first half, right? And all Rodgers is doing is dinking and dunking. Now, I know he doesn't have his biggest weapon in DK Metcalf. I understand that. But then they finally let him throw a little bit in the second half. I thought he made some unbelievable throws. The one, the Thielen, was amazing later on. Another one that was perfect. He kind of drew the clock back a little. He can't run the way he used to, but boy, he could throw.
He can throw it, and that's why he can keep playing. Peyton Manning would still be, he wouldn't still be playing, but he wanted to play much longer, but his arm quit. Drew Brees, same thing. The guys that learned in a more sophisticated era, they're just abusing Matthew Stafford, abusing the system right now. And I think that Aaron has kind of been unfortunate since he left the Packers to land in two places that really aren't the most innovative, thoughtful, fresh offenses, and it's really held him back. And I think you make a great point that he finally kind of gets unleashed. He can throw it as well as, not as well, but it's probably 95% of what he's ever done. That's amazing. And if he could get to he can't do it, right? He's Kansas City or L.A. or San Francisco or Denver or, like those jobs are all full. He might be able to tear it up like Matthew is.
I wanted to ask you this for a while now, but I want the season to end. Everybody that talks about the Giants said, well, they found the answer at quarterback. So let me ask one of the great quarterbacks of all time. Have they found the answer at quarterback for sure?
Nothing's for sure. You got so many filters, so many hurdles. I always said this, Jackson isn't sure, right? Like, you have to kind of live it out. There's some smoke signals that are given, and I think Jackson's done that. He's given us the sense that I can play in today's game, the dynamic nature of the game, throw it all over the field, and run and get extra yards, all the touchdowns that are out there with my feet. You just get the sense that he could be that guy. So yes, I want to lean in on that, but you still have to go live it out. And the thing that, I guess it's obvious to people, but you need so much help to be great in the NFL, especially at quarterback. You need the whole, like San Francisco 49ers, the LA Rams, the Packers, the Vikings, the Seattle, like they're all built. I'm going to go around and keep going. They're all built to help the quarterback be successful, because that's the job that's going to make the difference. And until you do that, I watch for Aaron Rodgers. They're going to pound the ball. They're going to play great defense. This is historically who they're going to be. It's just not the innovative game. You look in the playoff teams, who's going to be in the Super Bowl are all the most innovative offenses. And so please tell me that if Jackson Dart is the answer, he needs the help. That give me somebody from the tree of coaching of Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, or Sean Payton. Like, just do not hire anyone else. Even though there's some anomalies, there's some people that are outliers. Give me somebody. Look what's happened with Liam Cohen in Jacksonville. Look around the league. And so if you're going to if you think you have the quarterback, I'll lean in on that. Please tell me that you're not going to hire somebody that's going to, a defensive coordinator. They go find an offensive coordinator from Pittsburgh, and they're going to go ground it out and try to win a lot of games, and then in regular season, and then fade. And I pray they what's obvious to everybody, they hire for that.
All right, so let me ask you this. Is Kevin Stefanski that guy? Because a couple of people in New York reporting that he seems to be the favorite after getting fired by the Browns. This is a guy who won 11 games twice with the Browns, a playoff game with the Browns, coach of the year 2 times, but the last couple of years have been awful. What's your take on Stefanski? Is he part of that tree?
We should look that up. Have Ray look that up in the background right now. Tell me his history. I don't know that, to be honest with you. And I like him as an organized. Like, you're going to come and get organized, like Brian Daboll. You're going to get organized. You're going to get focused. You're going to these guys aren't just falling off the turnip truck. I mean, these guys are good, solid coaches. It's just that I really need that innovation, that young mind. And like when I say Andy Reid, he's 67, keeps reinventing himself every year. So like age doesn't necessarily matter. And so again, look what Liam Cohen's doing. Like they are going to be dangerous. What happens if they beat the Bills? I mean, all of a sudden we're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. How? Why? Well, because the game is wide open. They found an innovative mind to go take advantage of it, and had a quarterback that now is, that we thought could be pretty good. We were worried that he was not going to be, and now all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence is all of that. Why is that? It's one guy. So I can't tell you the answer to that one, Michael. I'm not. I'll do the study right after. I apologize.
Well, Ray will look it up as we're talking. So I know that you try to watch good football every weekend. I don't know how much have you seen of the Jets. Aaron Glenn is coming back. Did you see anything positive from Aaron Glenn this year? Anything? Help us.
Well, I look. It makes me. I'm a broken record on this with Woody and equity owners and just going around in a circle and never really looking at themselves, and then what am I doing as an owner that's preventing the Jets from being great, and then either getting out of the way or fixing what's broken, or and I feel like Aaron is like, name it, like Robert, like whoever's, just this carousel of people that are trying to, patch what is broken. And I think that you're kind of, the teams that are look at the teams that are in the playoffs right now. And what is their DNA, and what are the owners do? To me, it feels like you're stuck in a cycle. And it's like, well, let's fire Aaron Glenn, and then what? Then we'll hire X or Y or Z, and then we'll go around in a circle again. At some point, the people who own the team, they're not going anywhere. I mean, it's amazing. The most liquid, fireable jobs in America are quarterback, head coach, and general manager in the NFL. But who's unfireable, who never will leave in generations. And we just keep going around in a circle.
I got the answer for you. Stefanski, the coaching tree stems from Andy Reid and Mike Shanahan. He started his NFL career as an intern under Andy Reid with the Eagles, linking him to the powerful Shanahan-Reid offensive philosophy.
Oh, it makes me happy. It makes me sing. I mean, but are we going to? What are we going to? And then who's going to? We got to support that. But that tells me, because that's, you look again, the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence is a fading. He was supposed to be great, and but the Jaguars are the Jaguars. It was go around in a circle. Then they find a coach that can come in with innovative thoughts and call plays and put things together and stack, series together that makes sense. And all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence is like a killer. It's like, why is that? And so so let's do that. But why in Cleveland? What is it historically that we can't get out of the way? Why can the Jets? It's almost like we. It's so. I honestly, if I was in New York, Jets fans would at least should pay for kind of therapy for all fans.
But how about this? He's raising ticket prices. He is. It's unbelievable. Here's another 15 straight years without the playoffs. Now you're going to have to pay more money to come see the team.
Well, that's the inelasticity of the NFL. I mean, you can't. There's nothing in America more dominant than the NFL, and all 32 teams get to take advantage of it. That's the glory and the goodness of the NFL, is that they all share revenue. The disaster of the NFL is that they all share revenue, because now nobody is held accountable. I mean, think about that. That is inelastic, that you would be that terrible and you'd raise ticket price. That's un-American, right? Like you have to be accountable. You have to perform. It's just not how it works in our country. But yet in the NFL, it works because they have a collective, and you get paid. He gets 1/32 of all the big revenue, and then ticket price, because everyone's going to come.
Right.
The NFL can't stop it, and that's the problem. Is that because there's this lack of accountability at the highest level, you get stuck, and I feel bad.
Now, we will talk more about this on future Mondays, but 14 teams, they're all chosen to buy the Denver Broncos, Seattle. Who do you have going to the Super Bowl out of this tournament?
I mean, the two teams that are waiting, Denver and Seattle, look, are they pressure tested like Kansas City had been, or others that we've seen recently? No, especially at quarterback. Bo and Sam are guys that they're coming, right? You're leaning in for both of them. Sam's been amazing, but yet very fluid with the football. Like, he's a lot of turnovers. So the teams themselves feel like they're ready and waiting, and typical number ones, defense, a lot of that. And can those quarterbacks rise up? If they do, they'll be tough to beat at home. I really do think that. Now, I'd love to see the Rams go to Seattle. I'd love to see it's Drake May, all of that. Like, that's why it's funny. I said 5 years ago, I said the next decade, you're just going to see Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, just the three of them in roulette every year for the next 10 years, just dominate the league. And ended up being Patrick Mahomes the most, but Josh has done it too, and Joe, if you get the help. But now you got a playoffs that none of them are in. Lamar's gone. I mean, Josh is in, of course, but you've got these big names that are out this year. It's wide open in that way for quarterback, for somebody to come in and now say, put me in that list. Make sure that, in the future, next 10 years, I'll get 5 of them. And I think that Sam is in that spot, Bo is in that spot, Josh obviously in that spot. Josh has got to be licking his chops right now. Like, I finally get a playoffs that I don't go to Patrick Mahomes, right? But then he gets Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen's like, wait, what? What is that supposed to be something? And all of a sudden it is, and it's like, well, a lot of fun to think about. So it does feel more wide open than normal because there's not a quarterback that I'm like, oh yeah, watch out when he gets a hold of it. It's it's going to go down. Now, if Matthew Stafford can get to a championship game or to I do believe in his ability to dominate and his track record. He's that quarterback, and Josh is the same way. Both of those two got to be thinking about this is the year I got to take it down.
Were you surprised that laying an egg is kind of harsh, but the 49ers got beaten as soundly as they did by Seattle?
Watching the game, Seattle, they're all that. And they've developed that over the last couple of months. I mean, they're defensively, they are, elite. And bring 4 guys, pressure quarterback, on the edges, very strong, quick, but you could see the speed. It was just we couldn't match it. And then offensively, they're all that, right? They're going to run the football. 2 great running backs. And Smith-Njigba he is so special. He can change direction. Like, you talk about elite athletes, and then there's these people that are just otherworldly in ability to change direction and make people look foolish. And, like, he is super cool to watch. So all of that, that's why I put it on Sam. If Sam is on his game, the Seahawks are all of it. And I think the 49ers ran into that a little bit. I mean, they're hurt. I mean, they're playing linebackers that weren't on the team a week ago or 2 weeks ago. They're playing people like they're banged up. And you got to just tip your cap to Kyle and Shanahan and the coaching staff for holding it together, for Brock and Mac for half the season. Like, it's amazing what the 49ers have done. Amazing. But I wasn't when you're at the game, you see the kind of the difference, especially defensively. They're just 2 different teams right now in their health, and amazing to me what the 49ers have done. And it's not done. They can go to Philadelphia and win. They can go to Seattle and they can do it. Mm-hmm. But man, they are patched up, and it's tough.
Great stuff as always, Steve. Talk to you next Monday. Appreciate it.
Okay. See you, Michael. See you, buddy.
All right. That's Steve Young. Good stuff from him. With the Jets, he's been saying it for weeks to us. It's kind of from fish rots from the head, right? And with the Giants, he does think that Jackson Dart is that guy, but he wants him to hire an offensive coach. There's a lot of defensive coaches that are on this list that we keep reading about, but Stefanski let go by the Browns today. He's an offensive guy. Hey, FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost every college playoff game day. That means more chances to level up your picks and turn big moments into even bigger wins. Ride with the favorite, take a shot on the underdog, or build a parlay. Then apply your profit boost and go for bigger winnings. FanDuel is the best place to get into the football action all playoff long. And when you win, you'll get paid instantly. So visit FanDuel.com/local to get your college playoff profit boost today. 21 plus and physically present in New York, opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your knowledge to work on the events that matter to you. Prediction Markets isn't just sports. It's the Fed rate decision, your favorite award show, and so much more beyond the playing field. Trade events with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Hi, I'm John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates, the injury firm. You know what's interesting about the words personal injury? The first word is person. And at D'Agostino & Associates, that word means everything. That's because I handpick every person in our firm, from the pleasant professional person who answers your call to the experienced person litigating your case in court. Because every person in my firm is an extension of me, and the only way to exceed our clients' expectations is to deliver the highest level of personal service every single time. And that starts with hiring the right people. You see, we know that every client is a person too. Someone going through the toughest time in their lives and deserves to be more than just a file number. At D'Agostino & Associates, we put the person back in personal injury. So call 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222 and ask for me, John D'Agostino. And let's talk about your case, person to person. D'Agostino, law, bite back.
All the way over Barzell, score! New York Islanders hockey is back at UBS Arena, and it's time to bring the family and make some noise. With more afternoon games this season, the Islanders have special kids-themed games and activities for young fans. Play games pregame at the park and head inside for fun on the concourse and on the ice. Tickets for the 2025-26 season are on sale now. Get your tickets at NewYorkIslanders.com.
Health surprises can change your life in an instant. You've seen it happen to others, but it doesn't have to be your story. At Princeton Longevity Center, we customize actionable and proactive health plans to maximize your lifespan and take control of your health. Our Cancer Check program combines cutting-edge technology with top medical expertise to keep you ahead of potential risks. With advanced full-body imaging, genetic testing, and multi-cancer detection blood tests, we look for even the earliest signs of problems. Results are analyzed by expert physicians who craft a personalized plan to safeguard your future. You're not just a patient, you're a partner in your health journey, backed by a team committed to helping you live longer, healthier, and more vibrantly. Our programs have saved hundreds of lives and empowered countless others to take control of their health. Be proactive with your health for the ultimate peace of mind. Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Smalls here. Life is full of choices, some big, some small. And when you choose an H&R Block Tax Pro, you're choosing the largest network of tax expertise to be in your corner. For when your big ambitions need help with the small details. For when your six figures come from 6 different places. For when your gaming stream becomes your revenue stream. For when your business's year one needs 70 years of tax know-how. At H&R Block, they've seen it all. And they're here to help you make the most out of your money for life outside the box.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply by February 11th and get your application fee waived. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes, along with more than 135 degrees and certificates in fields like business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. Gain the skills you need to achieve your career goals. Get your application fee waived through February 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
You live for this. The wins, the losses, the slam dunks, and the buzzer beaters. The dream that this is your team's year. Hope, it's what keeps you coming back. So you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when everything's on the line, your support means everything. That's why the NBA Store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Hey, Game Time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7 p.m., a big showdown in Motown. Second place Knicks are in Detroit to play the first place Pistons. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. right here on 880 ESPN. I'll tell you what, I watched that Piston-Laker game. Pistons are really outstanding. I want to say great, but they're fast, they're young, they're energetic, they get after it. There's a good test for the Knicks, who are 3-3 since winning the NBA Cup. Now, obviously, they're 2-3 without Josh Hart. That's a big part of what they do, what Josh Hart brings to the party. But they have looked a bit lackluster of late. I mean, they got slapped around by the Sixers. This is going to be an interesting test in Detroit. Again, Detroit's the real deal. Remember the Knicks, tooth and nail last year to get by them in the first round. And I think they're better now. Also at 7 p.m., Rangers host the Mammoth at Madison Square Garden. Coverage begins at 6:30 on 1050 ESPN. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Well, Russell Wilson opened his mouth and said, you know what, he tore his hamstring in the practice before the Cowboy game. So Pro Football Talk a couple of hours ago wrote, Russell Wilson has a parting gift for the Giants. By the way, Wilson said he does not want to retire. This is what Pro Football Talk wrote. Russell Wilson has a parting gift for the Giants in the form of an inevitable NFL investigation regarding an undisclosed grade 2 hamstring tear he suffered on the last play of practice before the Week 2 game at Dallas. So then 26 minutes ago, Russell Wilson answered, "It's not the Giants' fault!" exclamation point. They didn't know because I didn't want to tell anyone because of the circumstances. I just had to play through it to try and go ball that day. Thought we were going to win that wild, crazy game. They didn't know? Had a grade 2 hamstring tear and he kept it to himself and the trainers didn't know? I mean, talk about the dysfunction that we're hearing about this team. There's no discipline. Players are allowed to get away with everything. And now this guy has a grade 2 hamstring tear in the practice before that. Now, it's hard to knock him because he played great in the Cowboy game. It was unbelievable. But by bringing it up, now you're putting the Giants on the griddle. How could they not have known? It's hard for the Giants to be disciplined because he did play great, but he wasn't on the injured list. So is he telling the truth? Did the Giants miss something that's so obvious? The dysfunction, it just continues on and on. It just makes them look bad. Let's go to Dave in Westchester. Dave.
Hey, how you doing, Michael? Happy New Year.
Same to you.
I happen to agree with it. And anytime you have Steve Young on, whatever he says, I just believe it thoroughly. But I wanted to totally disagree with you. I really believe that the Giants, I can name Burns and Abdul Card. I know all the names. I'm not going to name the other players on the team. I think that they have a good team. I don't even think they are mediocre. I'm saying if you go back to 2025 in July and you put McVay there, you put Vrabel there, I could just keep naming like great coaches, okay? They win easily 8 games, okay? To you, that's a great season. To me, that's a great season. This is the Yankees where you have to win the whole thing. That's a good season. The following year, they're in the playoffs automatically. They only need a really good offensive lineman or another good pass rusher or someone who can stop the run. They're not 50,000 players away. They have a good football team. You think they're a bad team. They need a good coach. I would rather have what's his name fired, Shane gone, and not have the first pick than have the first pick and have Shane there. Because now
let
Shane
me ask you
is going to
something,
hire
Dave.
somebody.
You said they have a lot of talent, okay? Where? Okay, the front line and the defense is good. The linebackers did not have a great year for the most part as a unit, and the secondary is absolutely awful. Every move that he made hurt the secondary. So your defense is
Coaching
half a
has
defense.
a lot to do with the NFL. Let me ask you a simple question, and you just answer honestly. Let's just make believe, okay? You know it can't happen. Make believe McVay was the coach from the beginning of the year, and they had the same team. Jackson Dart was there, and you're going to tell me, well, they wouldn't have got Jackson Dart.
Dave, what you're doing is
how many games would they have won in your opinion?
But first of all, you're giving me one of the best coaches in the NFL, one of the most innovative minds. They don't have a great roster. When I started the show, I told you about $175 million he spent on free agents. They were all bust. Darius Slayton did not play well. Russell Wilson was awful. James Hudson was awful. Goldston, the outside linebacker, not good. Adebo, not good. Javon Holland, the safety, not good. Well, what has he done that's so impressive? Evan Neal, awful. One of the worst draft picks of all time by the Giants. Really? Where's this abundance of talent? Jackson Dart, yes. Malik Neighbors, yes. Tracy ended up being a pretty good pick. How's the offensive line doing? Andrew Thomas has been great, but that was not the pick of Joe Schoen. That was a parting gift from Gettleman. Where's the great players? Where's the great roster? They can't even find a kicker. The kicking game was an abomination. Whose fault is that? So you're going to put it all on Brian Daboll because he's the coach? He was coach of the year one year, his first year, and won a playoff game. But now it's all him? They're not that talented of a team. They got to reload and spend their money more wisely. If you think Shane's got to do it, we shall see. We'll talk to Scott Van Pelt in just a moment about what happened over the weekend and what's going to happen over the coming week. The K Show, right here on ESPN New York.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A good karma brands radio station.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Bet 3-6. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a time out to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering buy one, get one 50% off and every day 0% financing. Some restrictions may apply. See store for details. Offer ends January 31st, 2026.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead.
Really?
That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York and New Jersey only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In New Jersey, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Back to the show, 2:03 in the big city. The Michael K. Show, roll until 3. At that time, Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Now we bring in our good friend, Scott Van Pelt, who did a great job on the Monday night games, NFL countdown, all that. It's just amazing. So we're so glad that we get an overview of what happened in the last regular season weekend of the season. And we bring in Scott right now. Hi, Scott.
Michael, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well. What an amazing ending last night. I don't think Week 18, like Sunday, was not a great day, not an epic day of matchups, frankly. But then you end up with the remarkable drama. And I thought Tirico, as a play-by-play guy, I mean, I'm not. You are. I just marveled at his setup, and then the way it all ended was amazing.
I'm glad you brought that up because obviously we're going to talk about the football. But one of the first things I did today was I asked Mike Breen, I said, do you have Tirico's number? Because I thought he put on a master class. Now, anytime a broadcaster has a great game, he's got an advantage, but you've got to do your job and put the frame around the picture. I don't know if you could be better than he was yesterday.
I don't think you can. I watched it back, and again, I don't do play-by-play, but and you said it well. You get this great game, but I watched it back, and it just in the NBC broadcast, and this is inside the Beltway for your listeners. Maybe it's not interesting, but I hope it is. Just you're getting the pictures, but it's his job to set it up in the exact time with the context of the most accurate kicker, Tucker, and he's gone, and they went out and they looked for kickers, and they thought he had the right stuff, and you get a picture of Rodgers, and maybe his career ends, and it's 44 for the division, snap, hold, good, kick, no good, and it's just, then you lay out because, and that's an industry term where it means you shut up, and you let the pictures tell the story, and I watched it back again, and I just thought, you cannot possibly do more justice to what was the scene in front of you than a few words and let the story be the story. It was exceptional.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Now, let's talk Rodgers. Now, when he was at the Jets for 2 years, you realized what an irritant he could be. But boy, did that guy ball out yesterday. I thought he was incredible in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and the crazy thing to me about just sitting there with Tim Hasselbeck, I'm like, just think about how we're a kick that's good away from just saying, my God, was Lamar Jackson amazing in that fourth quarter? Because he was.
Yeah.
But you're right, Aaron Rodgers was too. I mean, they an offense that couldn't get a ton going. Kyle Hamilton gets hurt for Baltimore. That's a big differentiator because he's an exceptional secondary piece for Baltimore. But Rodgers said afterwards, he said, I told the guys, look, it's my job to keep them calm. I think I did that. Leads them on a couple of touchdown drives, and then they survive a kick. You're right. He was fantastic when that was absolutely required.
Now, he was a Jet last year, so let's talk about the Jets this year. They get the second pick in the draft. How about that transition, right? They get the second pick in the draft.
Speaking of masterclass, yeah, go ahead.
And I'm telling you, Scott, I know they made trades and they traded away some of their best defensive players, but for the last 5 or 6 weeks, they're non-competitive. I don't see what Aaron Glenn did that could be checkboxed on the good column.
Well, no, but when you have in this league, when you don't have a quarterback, then you really don't have a chance. And they were so banged up at that position this year. They traded away their two best players on defense in Williams and Sauce for the future. And I don't know how they were going to be any good. But you're right to say they weren't competitive. I mean, they were horrendous. You saw bad teams at least compete. The Raiders competed some at the end. The Giants, I think much to a lot of their fans' dismay, continue to win games late in the year when all it does is kind of screw them on their draft position. But at least they're out there putting competitive games on film. The Jets were horrific. But you're right. They do have the second pick. It's not a great year for quarterbacks coming out. We'll see if Moore comes out from Oregon. Mendoza, I think the expectation is he might go first to the Raiders. But, I mean, you got a long list of things you got to get right. They did acquire draft capital, but they're going to have to thread the needle. And organizationally, they just haven't shown any reason to think that they will because they haven't.
Yeah, historically, they haven't. 15 straight years without making the playoffs. It's amazing. Now, on the other side of town, were you surprised that they're going to keep Joe Schoen?
Yes, you and I had this conversation. I thought about that this morning, Michael. When I saw that, I thought you and I have had this conversation months ago. Like, wow, okay, you're going to move on for Dable, but after the mess that's been the Schoen era, he's staying. Like, okay, same kind of thing happened in Cleveland. Like, okay, we're going to run Stefanski, but you're going to keep that GM. Like, I never understand organizationally how those decisions are made. It's probably relationships, I guess. You have some relationship. You're like, I like this person. I think they're going to stay. I was surprised. I did mention Stefanski in Cleveland, which is unrelated to what we're talking about, but there's a guy that I'd call immediately if I'm Schoen. He's a two-time coach of the year in Cleveland. I think he'd be high on the list of folks I'd want to talk to if I'm New York.
Ian O'Connor of The Athletic has written that Stefanski is the favorite right now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's an excellent coach. Again, I go back to what I said about the Jets and the quarterback. I mean, the Cleveland's quarterback situation has just been, a disaster, and he kind of worked around it. They had the 1 year with Flacco. Hey, they made the playoffs, and that was kind of a fun story. But, it seems in New York and Dart that you've got a guy for the future, and I don't know. I think Stefanski as the favorite would make me happy if I'm a Giant fan.
Now, I'm going to explain something to you, not that you need me to explain it. So Joe Schoen, throughout all these games, is sitting next to the powers. He's sitting next to the guys who own the team. Even in our business, if you're in when the executives are in, you're going to get a better chance to stay around. I just think that that's what it comes down. Joe Shane's probably burying Brian Dable. Hey, that's pretty good talent. That's bad coaching. That's why he stays. I believe that that's it.
That's interesting. And I mean, again, I try to do my best to know the things I don't know, Michael. I don't know the relationships. I don't. You know far better than I. And if he's got their ear and their trust, then that's how things get done in life. Relationships, the people that you think you can trust to do the job correctly. But I don't know. I mean, I think there's something to be said, and we're seeing it across the league today, where you hit the reset button. But in Atlanta, they do it after 2 years with Raheem Morris. Like the impetuousness and the thought that you're just going to hit the reset button every couple of years. That's no way to do it either. So maybe continuity lends itself to getting the right coach in place in New York. I don't know. We'll see.
Isn't it funny, Scott, that they hired Raheem Morris and they passed over Belichick because Arthur Blank had said, well, I don't want to do this again in 2 years. So he hires Raheem Morris and does it again in 2 years.
Yeah, and I mean, look, that division's so bad. And my God, Atlanta's just sitting there going, we're in the playoffs if we didn't do what? Blow a fourth quarter lead to who? The Jets. Who then went out and got outscored. I think it was. I said this last night on SportsCenter. I think it was 188-54. The Jets got outscored after they beat Atlanta, and that's the kind of result, Michael, that it doesn't cost you your job immediately, but then in the end, in the final analysis, you go, "Holy crap, we're a playoff team if we didn't lose to the Jets." And yeah, 2 years later, here you are again.
What did you think of Pete Carroll getting just one? I've never understood, and we're talking about Aaron Glenn, and I understand why he's coming back. 1 year is not a fair assessment because Bill Parcells was awful in his first year. But what do you think about Pete Carroll, 2 Super Bowls, winning one, gets a 3-year contract, gets fired after 1 year?
I got to say that I'm a fan of Pete, always have been. His enthusiasm, his resume is unimpeachable. That said, they were a disaster this year. They fire the offensive coordinator. That's Chip Kelly. They fire their special teams coach. Their biggest issue was their O-line. Their O-line was coached by who? Pete Carroll's son. They didn't fire the O-line coach. Well, I just felt like if Brady's more involved and if they're going to try to do a complete organizational reboot, I think Pete and Gino were like a bridge to get to the future. It doesn't surprise me that they chose to go this way because just talking to some Raider folks when we were out there for a Monday night game and talking to people around the league, they could see where this was going. And if you really feel like we're heading towards a cliff, then just try to pull a quick U-turn to avoid that. So I actually think it makes sense.
All right, so Zach Taylor is going to stay with the Bengals. Yep. But he did something over the weekend. I want to get your take on it. It's laughable to me. They celebrate Garrett breaking the sack record, and they stop the game. And he comes in afterward and said, we're fighting for our lives. And you're fighting for your lives? You've been eliminated for 5 weeks. I mean, why would he say something like that, Scott?
Yeah, I think it was just a poor choice of words. I'm going to give him a pass on that in the sense that I think Jamar Chase said something similar. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is a division rival. Like, imagine, NFC East, I've said this forever. It's the best division in football because everybody's won a Super Bowl, at least one, and everyone hates everyone. Imagine the Giants playing the Eagles or Washington or Dallas, and either of those teams had some significant milestone in MetLife, and they stopped the game, and Giants fans and the Giants had to sit and watch while they threw a parade for a Cowboy, a Commander, or the Eagle. Everybody'd be like, what the hell is this? And I think that's what he was saying. Saying we're fighting for our lives is clearly a misnomer. You've been playoff dead for months. So I'm giving him a pass just that I get the idea that it bothered him, but how it was framed was poorly done. I mean, there's a way to say, look, Garrett's great. We acknowledge that he's great, but we kind of just want to keep it moving here. But I see what you're saying.
You're so much of a better person than me. I've always known that.
No,
I mean, you see
true.
the good
Listen,
in people,
I'm a world-class grudge holder, I promise, and I hate everything. But in this case, I kind of get what he was saying.
Now, speaking of hating everything, so I'm watching your show after the game, and you were in the SportsCenter studio in New York, and you were raving about it.
Yeah, it was magnificent. I mean,
you said it was
the
bleachers
Kelly and
everything?
Mark studio. I'm sorry.
You said there were bleachers, and it was amazing.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, it was us. So there weren't folks coming from all over America to see us like they would the morning show. But I mean, I was just amazed at But listen, I'm in a basement in Washington, D.C. in a studio by myself. It's just me. And you get out, and it's New York, and it's like a union shop. You got people that are doing all sorts of stuff, and it's this beautiful space, and there's like upper and lower deck seating. It's incredible. Our countdown guys enjoyed being in there quite a bit for the Saturday games when we were up there. It was beautiful.
Can we get you to New York full time? I mean, that's exciting to think. Get you out of D.C.?
I mean, this is a hometown. This is a home game for me, man. So we got we're gonna stay where we're at for the time being, man.
All right, who do you like? You've got the 14 teams that made it out of 32. Who do you like at the beginning? Who do you think is going to end up in Santa Clara?
My guy Stanford Steve and I ask him every Sunday, every Monday, whenever we reconvene, and he's like, flip a coin, and it feels that way more than ever. I mean, I've liked the Rams all year, and I continue to like them. I'll take a flyer with them. That Seattle defense, what they put on San Francisco on Saturday night was frightening. I mean, if they're able to contain them to that degree, Seattle could easily be the team. But I think of what the Rams did when they went up there a couple Thursdays ago, and they hung 30-something on them and should have won. So I like the Rams out of the NFC, and the AFC truly is a crapshoot. I mean, the top of it, no one really has any experience. Denver, New England, Jacksonville, those three quarterbacks haven't been through this. And Jacksonville, after they went 8 in a row, it's like, holy smokes, your reward is a game against Buffalo? That's your first game? That's a lot to ask for. I'll tell you a sneaky team that I like, and I don't know if I have any company with this.
Texans?
I like Houston.
Yeah.
I like Houston.
The defense is
this
nasty.
time of year, defense tends to work and tends to win. And I think they'll bottle up Pittsburgh more than Baltimore could last night. I like the Texans. I feel like it's a total coin flip. I saw him beat Josh Allen in Buffalo earlier this year. So I feel like in a year of who the hell knows, I'll give you the Rams and the Texans, which, by the way, would be if they met again, would be a rematch of just a truly terrible game that started the season. I think they played week 1, and it was horrible. But both teams have gotten better since then. So, I don't know. I'm shrugging and saying Houston and the Rams.
All right, in closing, I've never been a fan of tanking. But the Giants winning the last 2 games, it doesn't do the franchise any good. And I don't think it carries over into next year. And then you're watching the games yesterday. I was 0 for 2 on my picks. Everybody tanked. There were teams that are in the playoffs that tanked. They lost on purpose, Scott. So why did the Giants do what they did?
I don't know. And look, I'm a Washington fan, and them winning against Philadelphia, I get it. It's a division game, and you admire people that are professional about their job, but it also doesn't benefit you in the draft for the future. I don't know. And I get I get it would be difficult if you're trying to lead a group of men out there and go, all right, fellas, let's go out there and collectively be bad. I mean, no one's up for that, but there's ways to go about it. And you're correct to point out, Philadelphia, they're trying, but they're trying with their second string.
Right.
So them losing, that's actually wild to me. They don't care that they back up in seeding. Like, whatever, we don't care who it is. We'd rather be healthy. That's a hell of a luxury. But you and I agree that winning, while I appreciate the professional 60 minutes of effort, I'm looking at the future and who we were able to pick, and backing up in the draft is not what you want. So I don't get it. I don't get it. And in the Giants' case, it's amazing that they continue to win these games late in the season, which all it does is just impact who they're able to take for the future.
I mean, imagine the value of the number 1 pick when there are teams that are desperate for quarterbacks, and you drop to the number 5 pick, which has no value other than selecting a player. That's what they did. 2 meaningless wins. And you don't have to – I don't expect Mike Kafka to lose on purpose. I don't. He's trying to put a resume together, and I don't expect the players that are playing. But don't play those players. I mean, Max Crosby sat down against the Giants, didn't he? Not that he wanted to, but that's the way to do it.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, but then they went out and then somehow they beat Kansas City, but they were locked into the one. They had the luxury of that. We've been so good at being bad that we're locked into the one, so we can go out and try to beat Kansas City, which they end up doing. But no, I'm with you. And it's again just over these years where the Giants are out of it and have no hope for the playoffs, but to continue to win games. I don't know. You got to be better at being bad when you need to be bad.
Right. Don't be bad at the beginning of the year. I think I saw a stat that of the last 8 wins, right? 4 of them have come in week 17 and 18. For what?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. But I saw that and I sent it. My text thread, all my Maryland guys that I went to school with, like half of them are Giant fans. They're like, look at you guys, and they're like, yeah, well, look at you. You root for Washington. You guys are going to go F it up today and go beat the Eagles, and they did. So what a Sunday for us both.
Great stuff. Monday night game is a pretty good one. I'm looking forward to that. It's the Texans against the Steelers. So you get Aaron Rodgers and you get the Texans, who you like to come out of the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, when we were there a few weeks ago, I said, you know what, like I could see us getting back here, and we had a feeling maybe we'd have AFC North versus whomever, and so yeah, we're heading back to Pittsburgh. That'll be the Monday game, and then we'll have a divisional game the following Saturday. So busy time of year, but a great time, exciting time. So we'll look forward to seeing you there and talking next Monday if you got time or a need.
Always have time. Thank you so much, Scott. Good to talk with you.
Always enjoy, Michael. Have a great day.
Thank you. Now, Joe Schoen has spoken. And we will hear from him in just a moment. Hey, I want to tell you about the Rascal Flatts Life is a Highway Tour. It's coming to UBS Arena on January 29th and Prudential Center on January 30th of 2026. ESPN New York has your chance to score tickets to the venue of your choice on the ESPN New York app. Just scroll down the contest, submit your entry. It's brought to you by Live Nation. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Let me get a couple of phone calls in before we break. We'll go to Greg in the work truck. Greg, what's up, man?
Happy New Year, Michael. How are you so far?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, mostly spectacular. Before I get to my Giants point, I wanted to let you know that I'm going for a procedure tomorrow, and I'm weirdly enough not going to be in the work truck for a bit. So there's that.
I hope the procedure goes well.
Thank you, sir. When it comes to Joe Schoen, I've been numb about it since the firing of Brian Daboll. I've said multiple times on your show that I think firing him was wrong in terms of it's not going to do anything. It really didn't. And I've battled with the idea that, okay, Schoen could go, he could stay, and at the end of the day, to me, I'm not surprised that Schoen is staying, but it also wouldn't surprise me if the Giants said, hey, thanks for what you did, time to move on.
But they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So obviously he's curried favor with the right people.
And it's like you said, he's in their ear, so he can manipulate it every which way. And from what it looks like in most of these games, it could be coaching because the defense all year has been atrocious. So maybe if they get the right defensive coordinator as well as the right head coach, maybe you could see improvement, but we won't know that until whoever the head coach is that's hired.
Well, I'll tell you this, Greg. It comes down to this. Everybody said, well, they've got so much talent. No, they don't. Not on defense. First of all, Dexter Lawrence took a big step back. Brian Burns was unbelievable. He's the best player, I think, on the team this year. But Abdul Carter didn't have a good year. The linebacking core in general was not overwhelming, and the secondary was awful. So where's all the talent we're talking about? Where is all the talent that we're talking about? Let's go to David on the east side.
Michael, I have what I think is a bold idea. Maybe I'll say it's a little nuts, but if I'm the Jets, I'd hire Brian Daboll as offensive coordinator. 2 reasons. One, the Jets are not exactly a hot destination for coaches, and if I can't have my pick of the litter, I at least want someone running the offense who's experienced and has some level of success, at least as a coordinator. By the way, lots of failed head coaches have success as coordinators on another team. Look at Todd Bowles. But second, more importantly, I think Daboll did a good job of scouting and developing Jackson Dart. And if the Jets are thinking about drafting a quarterback, that's someone I want in the room.
Well, the word that they're saying right now is that it looks like Daboll could end up being the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. But I don't think you'd go wrong with it. He actually did a great job when he was the offensive coordinator of the Bills, and he did a great job, obviously, with Josh Allen. And it looked like he developed Jackson Dart quite well. We'll see. He's going to get a job. I don't think he's going to get a head coaching job right away. Robert Saleh might. He might, although the defense in San Francisco, not very good, although they've been hurt. The Fred Warner injury is gigantic. I understand all that, but Robert Saleh is going to get some interviews as well. Hey, the wild card round is here, and FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the wild card round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. Pick the matchup that you believe in. Maybe you like the Patriots hosting the Chargers. The Bears and the Packers are meeting for a third time. Who will come out on top? Or maybe you like the defending champion Eagles hosting the 49ers. Take your shot on an upset, or build a parlay that fits the moment. Then apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts when the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. 21 plus, physically present in New York, opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. For see terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
New York Presbyterian treats more heart patients than any other hospital in New York. From common to complex conditions, our cardiologists and heart surgeons are pioneers in advanced heart care, leading the way in minimally invasive treatments for faster recovery times. Find a doctor at nyp.org/heart. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian. New York Presbyterian Hospital based on U.S. News and World Report 2025 to 2026 Cardiology, Heart, and Vascular Surgery Rankings.
Hi, this is John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates, the injury firm. I've talked about how a construction accident took my father's leg. The heavy prosthetic he wore looked nothing like the high-tech limbs we have today. It was crude wood and metal, held together by bolts that dug into his skin and left painful ulcers. But the thing I remember about my dad is how he never complained. He put on his prosthetic leg and he went to work. He coached my baseball teams, danced, sang karaoke, and even loved to travel. He may have limped, but he always held his head up high, and he lived with dignity. At D'Agostino & Associates, I spent over 35 years building a law firm that helps accident victims and those in need of their Social Security disability benefits. We fight till our clients get the money and dignity they deserve. So call us today at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. We have offices throughout New York and New Jersey. So don't tell me personal injuries aren't personal. I know what they can cost a family. I've been there, and I'll be there for you. D'Agostino Law Bite Back.
Presented by Robinhood.
He crosses, spins, pulls up.
With Robinhood Prediction Markets, buy or sell your predictions all game long. No house odds, just you versus the market. Put your sports IQ to work. Trade every shot, block, steal, run, and moment that shifts the game. With Robinhood Prediction Markets, trade every play. Visit Robinhood.com/predict to start trading. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Mary to the net. Score! The New York Islanders are back in action with a brand new theme night schedule you won't want to miss. Bring your friends out for the holidays and take home a custom holiday replica jersey or arrive early for special bobblehead giveaway nights for Matt Barzell and Bo Horvat. Barzell. For Horvat, score! Explore the full theme night schedule at NewYorkIslanders.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Life is full of choices, some big, some small. And when you choose an H&R Block Tax Pro, you're choosing the largest network of tax expertise to be in your corner. For when your big ambitions need help with the small details. For when your six figures come from 6 different places. For when your gaming stream becomes your revenue stream. For when your business's year one needs 70 years of tax know-how. At H&R Block, we've seen it all, and we're here to help you make the most out of your money. for life outside the box. Get started at hrblock.com.
Rich Eisen here. Hiring for your small business can feel like a full-time job, but LinkedIn Jobs AI Assistant takes the heavy lifting out of it. It filters applicants based on the criteria you set and suggests 25 great fit candidates daily so you can invite them to apply and keep things moving. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Eisen, then promote it to use LinkedIn Jobs' new AI Assistant, making it easier and faster to find top candidates. That's linkedin.com/Eisen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Then promote it to use LinkedIn Jobs' new AI Assistant, making it easier and faster to find top candidates. That's linkedin.com/Eisen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the show. Okay, so the big news today, at least here in New York, is that Joe Schoen, the Giant GM, is staying. The Giants released a statement earlier today during Bart Carlin's show that they are keeping Joe Schoen for the continuity aspect of it. Now, continuity is one thing. You have to be good at your job. So you don't keep somebody for continuity if they haven't done a good job. Now, there seems to be a differing of opinion where people are saying, well, they've got a lot of talent. I don't see it. They've got talent. They've got some talent. The most important piece, obviously, is the quarterback. So that I understand. But a lot of talent? You mean the coaching was that bad that with a lot of talent, they won 4 games? A lot? They don't have a lot of talent. They've got some talent, and he swung and missed on his whole free agent class, and he swung and missed on some big drafts. So Joe Schoen was asked today about staying in the job.
Good afternoon, everybody. Start off by saying I'm honored and humbled that John Mayer and Steve Tisch would allow me to see this process through.
Now he talked about his message to the fans.
To our fans, I understand, the wins haven't been what the expectation is, and, I'm fortunate enough to be tasked with getting the organization and the franchise back where it belongs, and that's the goal as we move forward.
He's had 4 years where his record is 22-45-1. None of it's his fault. None of it. He spent $10 million on Russell Wilson. None of it's his fault. He couldn't get a kicker that can actually do his job and stay healthy. They lost games because of the kicker. Is that on the coach? Schoen was asked about his contract.
I'm not going to get into my personal contract situation. As you've seen today, unfortunately, in the nature of the business, I'm not sure how much it really matters how many years you have on your contract or not, but I'm not going to get into my personal situation there.
Well, I will tell you one thing, and I've always truly believed this. You can't stagger those hires. If you're going to allow this guy to play a huge role in bringing in the next head coach, then you must extend him. I think he has a year left on his deal. You have to extend him. Because what? If they don't do well next year, then you're going to fire him, bring in a GM who inherits a coach that he had nothing to do with. How does that work? We saw it fails all the time. It's failed several times with the Jets. Idzik and Rex, it doesn't work. So if you've made the commitment, I said this at the beginning of this year, that the Giants have kind of caught betwixt and between. The bottom line is you should have extended both Dable and Schoen. But somehow Schoen had the ear of ownership and blamed it all on Dable, his buddy from Buffalo. Now, I was a Brian Dable fan. The one thing that I don't like, what I've heard since he left, is that there was no discipline whatsoever with the Giants. Tell me a football coach that's not a taskmaster and not a disciplinarian that does well, that lets players run wild, that lets Abdul Carter fall asleep and miss meetings. Tell me the football coach that does that. Most of the great football coaches, even though they might seem agreeable, they rule with an iron fist. So Shane's now going to select or help in the selection of the head coach. And, there's a lot of fear. Well, what happens about that continuity aspect if they hire a coach that wants his own GM? Like, say John Harbaugh shakes loose. And Harbaugh said, I'm not coming there unless I have my guy as the GM. Well, since Schoen is conducting the initial research, he's not going to send anybody to Tisch and Mara that wants to have him out. He controls the keys to the kingdom. He was asked about his criteria for the next head coach.
There's several criteria that we're going to look for. Leadership being an important element, in the head coaching world. Football acumen will be important. Player development is very important, having a plan for player development. We have a young quarterback. It's going to be important that there's a plan in terms of Jackson's development, holding people accountable, communication. There's a lot that goes into the head coach that, can fall under that leadership element, but those are some of the characteristics that we're going to be looking for in the next head coach. We're going to cast a wide net, and there's no directive that it has to be an offensive guy or defensive guy or special teams or college or whatever it may be. Having head coaching experience previously, we are going to try to find, or we are going to find, the best leader for the franchise.
He was asked about Dart. Is having Dart a benefit in finding a head coach?
Absolutely. From the people I've talked to, the consensus, there are a lot of potential head coaching candidates that are excited about the opportunity here because of Jackson Dart.
There you go. Jackson Dart is probably the biggest positive that you can attract a great coach. And please, nobody wants that job. This is the New York Giants. They've been around since 1925. They're a flagship NFL franchise. They haven't won in forever. You don't think a good coach, a promising coach, doesn't want to take that job? Even if Jackson Dart wasn't there. Even if Russell Wilson was a starting quarterback, people would turn down the job. Now, a few coaches have turned down jobs. Ben Johnson wanted nothing to do with interviewing for the Raider job. Nothing. So he went to the Bears because they had a great quarterback that he felt that he could mold. Boom. They're in the playoffs. They won their division. It's a very coveted job. Just like the Jets was a coveted job. And it's been an absolute dumpster fire for years. And Aaron Glenn probably had other jobs he could take. He wanted the Jet job. So there's 32 of these jobs. I don't think people are that picky unless they have their pick of a certain, a couple of jobs. Then they could turn one down and take the other one. But if you've been waiting to be a head coach in the NFL and a really bad, historically bad team wants to hire you, you're going to say, no, I want something better. Stop it. People start these narratives. Even if Jackson Dart wasn't here, Pete would be lining up to get the Giant job. But Jackson Dart is here. You heard a guy like Steve Young, a Hall of Famer, who thinks that he is an outstanding quarterback. But he needs to be molded by the right people. We'll see. 1-800-919-3776. Andrew in Medford. Andrew.
Yeah, hey, Michael. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm good. How are you, Andrew? Happy New Year to you.
I'm good, thank you. I want to say about the Giants. Their ability to navigate free agency and trades without financial limitation is one of the reasons a head coach vacancy job is expected to be attractive for the Giants. And relatively a blank slate from a salary cap standpoint, their space jumps to $112 million in 2027 and to $238 million in 2028. Now they only have 17.4 as of now this million, but they could free up another 25.7 by unloading Okirky, Graham Gano, Singletary, Hudson, and Hyatt, which they haven't been really living up to their numbers. Now, in the draft this past year, Abdul Carter is going to come around, I think, with the right coaching, and he showed signs of it at the end of this year. And, of course, Jackson Dart was good, and Scatterbo. Those were the top rookies for the Giants, future. And I think in this class now coming up draft, if they go with Caleb Downs, that safety, that kid is something.
They certainly need to bolster that part of the job. But I will tell you this, Andrew, you're talking about like salary cap space. You feel confident the way he spent $175 million last year? Every one of his free agent signings missed.
Yeah, well, I'm not thrilled about the GM, but we got to deal with what we dealt with now. We can't change nothing on it. But they could make up for it in the draft this year because going with Downs to shore up that safety position is huge, and they can get a wide receiver too with the second pick, and they can get a good offensive tackle and a running back and a linebacker. I mean, they got some good stuff here to make the moves, but this kid, they got to go to first pick with Downs. This guy is something, I'm telling you. Do you see what he does on snaps, Michael? He has 906 free safety snaps, 48 cornerback snaps, 562 slot snaps, 838 in the box, and on the line of scrimmage, 66. This kid's been special ever he's gone to college. In his freshman year he was. He's a leader. He's a captain. And I really feel like the Giants will lead in the right direction with picking up these key players for the future.
Well, you know what? You are much more bullish on the situation than other people are. Because the guy making those selections is the same guy who took Evan Neal and missed on a lot of picks and missed on every free agent signing that he had during this offseason. 107. You look at the money that the New England Patriots spent in free agency last year. A truckload of money. They hit on almost every single one. The Giants missed on every single one. I keep hearing about, a very talented roster. I don't buy it. And I think it is absolute lunacy. I said it in the first hour, and I said it with Scott Van Pelt. Why did you need to win those 2 games? And I don't want to hear the nonsense, to change the culture. The culture is going to change because you're going to have a new coach. The win you had against the Cowboys and last week against the Raiders will have nothing to do and no impact whatsoever on the future of the Giants. The Giants would be in much better shape to rebuild this team and get the talent that you need in if they had the number 1 pick. They should have the number 1 pick. They won 2 useless games. Why? Now, you can't expect Mike Kafka to coach to lose. But from the front office, if Joe Schoen knew he was staying, and I'm sure he did, they should have deactivated their best players. Like every other team did. Every other team. It's ridiculous. It does nothing. Oh, it'll help Jackson Dart in the future. Stop it. Stop it. You know what will help Jackson Dart? If the Giants had the number 1 pick and then a team desperate to get Mendoza offered them a truckload, a treasure trove of picks for that number 1 pick, because the Giants are lucky. They're fortunate they don't need a quarterback, and the Giants could have cashed in on that. They could have turned 1 pick into probably 4 picks and another first rounder next year. But instead they have the 5th pick. The 5th pick, which has no trade value whatsoever. Nobody's jumping up to the 5th pick. Doesn't make sense. And John Mara, it's his mantra, and I don't get it. If I ever heard my team was tanking, they'd all be fired. But playoff teams yesterday tanked. They tanked. But the Giants can't. Oh, that's beyond the Giants. We can't tank. But we could go 22-45-1 over the last 4 years. But we can't lose games that would actually help the future of the franchise. And I have never, ever, ever been a tanking guy. Ever. But I'll tell you this. It certainly looks appetizing when you saw how many teams actually tanked. The Raiders tanked last week. This week, they didn't tank. You know why? Because they knew they had the number 1 pick no matter if they won or lost against the Chiefs. It's a joke. It's a joke. One other thing, another joke. I'm a big Josh Allen fan. Big Josh Allen fan. So there's a consecutive game streak going. They start him, well, he played 1 snap, something like that, then left the game for Mitchell Trubisky. Is that a legitimate streak then? Cal Ripken Jr. never did that. Eli Manning never did that. That's not a streak. If you're so intent on resting him, then the streak is broken. Playing one down, a 1 snap is not extending an Iron Man streak. It's not. I think it's disgraceful. And I love Josh Allen. I don't think it was his idea. And if they really wanted to be dramatic, that's the last snap probably, unless there are a lot of upsets and they host the conference final at Highmark. The last snap ever. They had the game obviously nailed down since the first half. Shouldn't Josh Allen have come out and taken that last snap at that stadium and kneeled down? He wasn't going to get hurt on a kneel down. That, to me, delegitimizes the streak. It just does. He didn't play a game. He took a snap in order to continue a streak. Eli Manning never did that. Cal Ripken Jr. never did that. In fact, for most of Cal Ripken Jr.'s streak, he played every single inning. Not a fan of that. So many other things to hit on. There's some baseball in the air as well. It's the K-Show. We're rolling till 3 right here on ESPN New York.
Monday on Hahn and Rosenberg. After another disappointing football season in New York, how confident are you in Aaron Glenn as the Jets head coach and Joe Schoen as the Giants GM going forward?
This year's draft produced Cam Scatterboo, Abdul Carter, and Jackson Dart. So there is some evidence they have produced, at least in the draft. They want to move forward with this front office and Joe Schoen leading it.
Hahn and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Listen up. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
ZipRecruiter. Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football. It's a Pepper thing.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible: overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead.
Really?
That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York and New Jersey only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In New Jersey, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
From the regular season to the Super Bowl, ESPN New York is your destination for football. We've got crazy fans.
If the Giants somehow beat the Cowboys, I'm going to take a dump on your head.
You can feel good because you're a damn football team.
Expert analysis.
Marcus Spears joins us now. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Mel Kiper Jr.
The Hall of Famer Steve Young.
He's kind of our resident general manager, Louis Riddick.
We got Mike Tannenbaum right now.
And all your fantasy and wagering needs. This is ESPN New York. We are football.
Welcome back to the show. Some baseball in the air. Supposedly reportedly the Yankees, according to Joel Sherman of the Post, have made a second offer to Cody Bellinger. I don't know who else is pursuing him or who else is making offers, but the Yankees seem quite content if they bring back essentially the same team that won 94 games last year. There are also rumors that they are in and talking with the Marlins about Edward Cabrera. They probably have to send one of their top-flight minor leaguers to Miami, and they've dealt with Miami before, most recently on the Jazz Chisholm deal. So Cabrera's young. You have control of him for 3 more years before he becomes a free agent. Paul Blackburn, who pitched for the Mets last year, came over to the Yankees. He had some inflammatory comments about the Mets and talking to the New York Post. And Dan Martin, I believe, got Paul Blackburn in an interview. And Blackburn said, when I got to the Yankees, I could see everybody was pulling on the same rope in the same way. He said that wasn't the case with the Mets. It wasn't that kind of clubhouse. So we keep hearing stuff about that Mets clubhouse. And you just wonder, what happened? What happened? Now, I heard during the break, I was talking with somebody, that David Stearns, when he took the job with the Mets, felt that this was not the team that was going to end up winning a World Series. But then the Mets ended up going to Game 6 of the NLCS. And he was stuck. How could he break up that team? Maybe he was wrong, right? So then they're bringing back Pete Alonso. They didn't make the trades. They kept Nimmo. They kept McNeil, all of those things. This year, missing out on the prize with a $340 million payroll, he gets carte blanche then from Steve Cohen to do what he initially wanted to do. The fact that they made Game 6 of the NLCS gave him pause. But you do wonder, what was that clubhouse like? And Lindor's supposed to be the leader of the team. He's got to lead and make sure there are no fractures in that clubhouse. Has to. But the year they went to the NLCS, they had big-time veteran guys. Iglesias played a big, big role. Kept the team together. But they got rid of him. So it wasn't the same team that went to the NLCS. I don't think the Mets are done, by the way. Now, one thing I find humorous about baseball offseason is that you have fans going, how come they haven't made any moves yet? Or they're just sitting on their hands, blah, blah, blah. They're not working on your timetable to excite you. The only way that you judge the offseason is the team that they bring to spring training. That's what the Yankees and the Mets. You keep saying, well, there's got to be more. Well, yeah, maybe there is more. So how could you on January 5th say, oh, they've done a terrible job? And Yankee fans have been particularly upset. You know, the Japanese players that, the Imai ends up signing with the Astros. And then Okamoto signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. The Yankees didn't want either of those players. And I told you before I went on vacation, the Yankees were not in on Imai. They were not. They didn't lose players they wanted. They were not in on those players. There's not a player that is signed somewhere else that the Yankees wanted and didn't get. Now, maybe that will happen. Maybe Bellinger will leave. I don't know. But to say, well, they're sitting on their hands while everybody's signing, the people that are signing are not players they were interested in. Do you know that 20 of the top 50 free agents are still unsigned? Tucker's still unsigned. Bichette's still unsigned. I could go chapter and verse on how many players have not signed. And you're going to freak out about it? I think you got to wait. I know everybody wants action. And I think that really stinks about baseball, that free agency is not like it is in the NBA, and it's not like it is in the NFL, where everything happens in a flurry over 2 or 3 days. And part of the reason for that is that those sports have caps. And they got to make sure they get the player they want right away. Baseball does not have anything that creates urgency. It just doesn't. It's not great for the sport. But the Players Association doesn't want to be rushed. They're not worried about an exciting offseason or exciting week. They want to get the best deal that they can get. Knicks and the Pistons tonight. I said this earlier. I watched the Pistons game against the Lakers. They're really good. They're better than I remember them last year. They're athletic. They're long. They're fast. They play hard. They're all over the place. They move the ball beautifully. And the Knicks are 3-3 since the NBA Cup. So that game's in Motown. It's one to keep an eye on. Really, really interesting. Remember when Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss? And we'll talk to Paul Feinbaum about this tomorrow. And, he wanted to coach the team in the playoffs. And they said no. But now a lot of his assistants are coaching the team, and they're actually employees of LSU. But then, because the transfer portal opened on January 2nd, the offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss Jr., had to fly back to Baton Rouge to help recruit a quarterback. So you tell me, they need the assistant coaches to come back. How would Lane Kiffin have been able to coach Ole Miss and still be the head coach of LSU? It's such a crock that he even tried to do that. Again, Paul Feinbaum will be the guy we'll talk to about that coming up tomorrow. We always talk to him on Tuesday. Hey, it's a special day for me. My daughter, Callie, today became a teenager. I don't know where the time went. She's 13 years old, going on 35. But happy birthday to Callie. May you live as long as you want, but never have to want as long as you live. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 1. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See you, everybody.
FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost every college football playoff game day. That means more chances to level up your picks and turn big moments into even bigger wins. Ride with the favorite, take a shot at the underdog, or build a parlay. Then apply your profit boost